entertain a motion to go into open session.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn closed session. Return to open session and adopt certification of closed session.
I need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Ms. Golson?
Certification of closed session. Whereas the Dinwiddie County School Board has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas paragraph 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dinwiddie County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board. Dr. Elaine Pearson, District 1.
I certify.
Dwayne Walker, District 2.
I certify.
Barbara Pittman, District 3.
I certify.
Mary Benjamin, District 4.
I certify.
Jason Brown II, District 5.
I certify.
Madam Chair, all certify.
Thank you. At this time, would you join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adopting the agenda.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
None at this time.
I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries. And closed session report.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept or approve the personnel list as it's been presented to us.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Dr. Weston?
Yes, it seems a bit odd that I'm going to be introducing someone to you this evening because she's already such a huge part of our family, but I'd like Ms. Tuck to stand up so I can just introduce her to us officially. So Ms. Tuck is coming to us with a bachelor's degree in English secondary education. She has a master's degree in reading, curriculum, and instruction. She received her certificate in education leadership from Virginia Commonwealth University. Throughout her career, she's been a Title I reading teacher, an English teacher, and most recently a dean of students, and now she's serving as one of the assistant principals at the Dinwiddie County Public Schools High School. Yes. She has numerous awards. She was an AVID Coordinator of the Year, lots of awards in reading instruction. She was a Title I Teacher of the Year, a Teacher of the Year at a middle school, and also she was a top 10 finalist for Richmond City Public Schools Teacher of the Year. So she brings a wealth of knowledge to us, and we're so glad that she now calls Dinwiddie County Public Schools home. So please join me in welcoming her. And I believe she has her husband. You have your husband with you this evening? Because it's always a family affair. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Garnes, you're going to be introducing your student representatives.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. To Ms. Pittman, to all other board members, to Superintendent Weston, and Assistant Superintendent, and everyone in attendance. I do have the honor of presenting to you our student school board representatives for this school year. So our first representative, Imani McLaughlin. Imani McLaughlin is a daughter of Mrs. Bernita McLaughlin and the late Reverend Dr. Victor McLaughlin, former pastor of Memorial Baptist Church in Church Road, Virginia. She is currently a senior at Dinwiddie High School and the senior class president. Imani is actively involved in her school, clubs, community activities, and serves in various capacities such as SAGE, student advisor, DECA president, and in the past, varsity basketball cheer captain, to name a few. She is an honor roll student and takes her academics very seriously. She has received numerous leadership and academic achievement awards, such as the William and Mary Leadership Award, and is in her second year of being a member of the National Honor Society. Imani strongly believes that if you set your mind to it and focus, you can achieve anything you have ever dreamed. Self-discipline, patience, and more importantly, prayer is the key. So I present to you Ms. Imani McLaughlin. And I might add, she is my right hand in the morning during morning announcements. Jake Everett. Jake Everett is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Randy and Melissa Everett and a junior at Dinwiddie High School. He is an active member in FCA, FFA, and serves on the varsity baseball team. He is enrolled in dual enrollment Virginia and U.S. history, dual enrollment American literature, dual enrollment Spanish, and dual enrollment biology. He is also an active member in his youth group at his church, Concord United Methodist Church. In his free time, he enjoys working on his family farm and hunting. He is extremely excited for this opportunity to serve as a student school board representative. I present to you Mr. Jake Everett.
Thank you, Mr. Garnes, and we welcome Imani back, and we welcome Jake to our leadership group. Jake's a man of few words, I have to tell you. I've known him since he was really small. Let's see, expenditure reports.
I move that we approve the expenditure report as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are any opposed? That motion carries. And minutes.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes for August 13, 2024, and August 27, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. And board matters. Exceptional education field trip. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing fine, thank you.
All right. The first one is the post-secondary field trip. It's the Wilson Workforce Rehabilitation Center in Fisherville, Virginia. 4 Dinwiddie High School students have been selected to participate in the post-secondary education rehabilitation transition program at the Workforce and Rehabilitation Center in Fisherville. PERT is a school-to-work transition program for students with disabilities. The PERT students will participate in employability and independent living skills assessment. The reports come from these assessments will be shared with the case managers and families to help students plan for life after high school. So they go out and they stay. Ms. Hagens is actually here if you have any questions for her to answer these. But they go out, they're to leave October 14th through 18th. Ms. Pelt and Ms. Moore will drive them out in the van, drop them off, and then go pick them up on the 18th. And from my understanding, it's kind of like a dorm room. They got our resident assistants that stay with them on campus and stuff like that.
You have any questions for Mr. Tortorese about the rehabilitation?
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve the exceptional education field trip to the post-secondary educational rehabilitation transition program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion does carry.
The second trip we're looking for tonight to approve is the DHS girls basketball team to travel to play a regular season game in the She Got Game tournament December 14th. And the reason we're here is because there's a possibility that they might travel over the border to Washington, D.C. To play a game there. Right now they're scheduled to play at St. James, Springfield, Virginia, and possibly St. John's College High School in the Washington, D.C. area. It's just an up and back trip that day.
It's not an overnight.
It is not an overnight, no.
Madam Chair, I move that we, approve the trip for the DHS girls basketball team.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. Let me back up to that. We're going on a regular school bus?
School bus, yes.
Yeah, okay. DECA trip.
Yes, the DECA trip will be November 15th through 17th. Where's this one at? The Leadership Conference, this is in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's filled with learning labs and leadership lessons accompanied by powerful presentations by a variety of professionals in various career clusters. The learning labs students will concentrate on college and career readiness and preparation for competition. There'll be four kids going with Miss Gravely. They will be taking a county van.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the DECA leadership trip to Charlotte, North Carolina.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? This carries.
Could I give one quick thank you to everybody that's here? I want to thank the elementary principals, Dr. Weston. We had about 275 show up on Friday night. And I thank Dr. Weston because it was an actual idea that came about 12:30 Friday evening after our first game. I was talking to the missus, but we had a elementary night and we gave all the students free elementary tickets and we had about 275 show up. But I appreciate y'all passing them out. So thank y'all.
It was a packed house
was a
Friday
packed
night.
house.
Yes, and that's always nice. Nice to have the community support.
Yes.
Budget calendar.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here before you in the first step of the FY 2026 budget process. Is that better? Oh, yeah. All right. I'm here before you in the first step of the FY 2026 budget process. I can't believe we're going to talk about the next year and where it's only September, but this is where we start. You have before you our budget calendar, which is a proposed plan of meetings and approvals and work sessions for the upcoming year. It's very similar to last year. I know for some of you, this is your first full year of budget season. But we did talk about this briefly at our advance last month, but I'll be glad to entertain any questions that you may have about the calendar itself. It does need approval, but it can be amended as we go through the budget season as needed.
Any questions about the calendar? It's extensive. And it's always daunting that we're still doing the last one while we're trying to do the next one.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm still
I
in
don't know
last
how
year.
you keep up. Do you have
I'm in 3
different
years.
colors or something? Or you can't-
Yeah, yes, I do. I do keep it all color coded. I will say that.
Any questions for Ms. Fleming? If not, we need to adopt the budget calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I move that we approve the adoption of the budget calendar as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And you may go forth with purple.
Okay. Thank you.
New business. Do we have any new business? Okay.
I stand before you to give you the proclamation for this month because September is Attendance Awareness Month. So whereas the nation is experiencing a school absenteeism crisis, making good attendance more essential than ever to students' well-being, their achievement, and graduation, whereas students and families are more likely to show up and engage when there are positive conditions for learning at school, including physical and emotional health and safety, a sense of belonging, connection, and support, academic challenges and engagement, and adults and peers with social emotional competencies. Whereas reducing chronic absence requires a comprehensive trauma-informed approach that starts with prevention and early intervention, including developing routines and trusting relationships that create a sense of belonging rather than responding with punitive actions, which research finds it's not particularly effective. Whereas improving attendance and engagement takes schools, families, elected leaders, and other community partners working together to rebuild regular and trusting communications and to identify and address barriers to being in school. Whereas taking attendance daily in caring, consistent manner is essential to identify when students begin to miss too much school and for noticing as soon as possible when students are starting to miss too much school and engaging students and families with the needed support and resources. Now therefore be it resolved that Dinwiddie County Public Schools stand with the nation in recognizing September as Attendance Awareness Month. We hereby commit to focusing on reducing absenteeism and addressing the factors that cause students to miss school in order to ensure all children an equal opportunity to learn, to grow, and to thrive academically, emotionally, and socially. We recognize that we must work together to build an engaging school environment that motivates attendance and sends the message that learning can and must continue. So this month, Dr. Clay and I had worked together to kind of come up with a calendar to promote Attendance Awareness Month. We've had several posts on social media this month, and we will continue. We have video footage as well from leadership and students promoting good attendance. We also have an opportunity that we will be partnering with the nutrition staff next week for an opportunity to reward students that come to school and participate in breakfast. They'll get a free sweet treat next week as well, and we'll share more information with parents. But we're taking proactive steps, not just for the month of September, but the whole year. Okay, so thank you for listening to the proclamation, and September is Attendance Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we need to adopt the proclamation? No? Okay. Thank you for that information, and attendance is certainly one of the issues that is plaguing all the school systems, and it also plagues businesses, and it just has such a huge effect on everything. Okay, any other new business? If not, we move to superintendent's matters. Policy updates for the first reading.
Yes, ma'am. So during our board advance, you were provided a copy of the most recent policy updates. Most of the policy updates are just including new references to Virginia code and changes of that nature. So this is to formalize that process, to put it on our agenda, and know that we'll come back at a later date to have those policies approved. So if you have any questions in the meantime for any of those policies, please let us know.
So what we have done is split up the 60 pages worth of policies. And so we're going to look at them more closely. And then if any of us sees something in our section that we wonder about or want to discuss, we'll pass it back and forth before we get to the next meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for enrollment updates.
Ms. Fleming.
Ms. Fleming.
I'm here to talk about our current year budget and our enrollment as where we stand right now. So, as I mentioned last month, we are seeing a decline in our enrollment based on what we built our budget on. So our budget was built on 4,100 students. Right now, we're looking at a membership of 3,985. Which means we're about 115 students short. As you know, the state pays school divisions based on the March 31st average daily membership. And that is a cumulative, it's a cumulative count between now and March on our actual students that are enrolled. But because we built our budget on 4,100 students, and right now we're looking at a deficit of 115, what that means to us in state dollars is a reduction in state funds of $996,636, which is almost $1 million. We met yesterday in cabinet, and the good news is that we have a plan, and we are able to absorb the majority of this through vacant positions or positions that are being filled with long-term substitutes versus a contracted employee receiving benefits. So we are able to cover this shortage at this point in time without making any major changes or reductions. We are watching our spending, of course, and we have, reached out to all of our departments and let them know, that we do need to be cognizant of our spending and anything that's going forward. But we feel like we're okay right now. We, of course, will also keep a very tight watch on our enrollment and our number of students that are, here. And, we'll be making a plan for the FY 2026 budget as well by, looking at, reducing the number that we build our budget on. I'll be glad to entertain any questions that you may have about this.
Well, I would like to say that this is a trend, not just in Dinwiddie. The
Yes.
drop of enrollment has been statewide, and it's people choosing to homeschool or private school or online schools. So there's so many opportunities or choices out there now that it's happening everywhere for the public schools.
And I will say that we did meet with Ms. Rainey, who does work in our Infinite Campus program, our student information system, and we do have a report showing where all of our students, our withdrawals have gone. So we're looking at that too, just to kind of have a good idea of what that looks like. So.
Any questions for Ms. Fleming? Got some kids laying around somewhere where you live, enroll them in school.
Yes, so we're just blessed that we were able to come up with a plan, and this is not,
It's not a crisis yet.
it's not a crisis at this point.
Yeah. Thank you. Human Resources Evaluation Process. Ms. Branch.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm happy to be able to share with you some updates that myself and a few of my colleagues have partnered together on to develop for some of our staff. Before I go into great detail, I would first like to acknowledge Dr. Amanda Clay and Mr. Jeff Walters for their contributions to this project. As you may already know, the Department of Education gives us detailed guidance through the uniform guidelines for teachers, administrators, and superintendents on how we should evaluate staff that fall under that criteria. However, it does not really speak to how we should evaluate our central office employees who are promoted to director level roles or that are supporting the entire division, as well as individuals who may be support staff within the schools. So according to our policy GDN, which is evaluation of support staff, it tells us that the superintendent is responsible for establishing the procedures for how we evaluate the staff. And while we did already have a process or procedures in place, we realized that over time it has become a little bit antiquated. It exists right now as a checklist for different areas, and we realize that checklist doesn't really provide the opportunity for dialogue. It doesn't account for the evolution of roles as we have grown as a school division. over the years. So we decided that we would come together, talk about what we wanted it to look like for our school division. And then we also did a market survey, so to speak, of our peer school divisions to see how they were approaching evaluations with their staff members. And from there, we were able to come together with something that I think we will all say best represents the mission, values, and goals here of the school division. So if you scroll down to the next page, you will see here that we've already crafted some guidance to those individuals for how the evaluation process should go. Our plan is for us to pilot this program, starting with directors here at the central office first. And then from there, we will be able to receive feedback, review, critique it, and then be able to roll it out on a larger scale. At this point, we are presenting it here in this format as an opportunity to create awareness across the school division and to also give our employees a chance to review the information that we have put together. And then, of course, to be able to give us their comments and feedback as well. So they'll have a few months to be able to look at it, digest it, see how they think the standards correlate to their position. So then they'll have an opportunity to start crafting a response of their own as to how they feel they are meeting the expectations. So you can see here in the guidance that it's telling the employee to do a self-evaluation first so that when they come together for that discussion, they can have that dialogue about those particular areas, but the supervisor is the person that's responsible for the final rating. So, Bonnie, if you don't mind, if you could scroll down just a little bit more, and I'd like to go over what the ratings for each standard are. Okay, yes. So we did go ahead and we adopted some of the phrasing from the Department of Education, and we're going to go with highly effective, effective, approaching effective, and ineffective. And from there, we provide some guidance on how the evaluation process should be administered, just in a brief summary format. And then the next page goes in a little bit further detail about what our expectations are as in each of those ratings. So we define what highly effective should look like, what effective should look like, approaching effective, and then ineffective as well. The following pages here represent what the evaluation form would look like. So individuals will be able to see that ahead of time, and they'll be able to see the details on each standard. There's 5 standards that the employees will be evaluated upon, starting with job knowledge and skills, providing quality work and results, human relations and communication skills, and then lastly, management and leadership, only for those roles that are leaders of people. As you can see, in every area, there's an opportunity to provide comments. Our guidance stipulates that it is required to provide comments if you feel that you are highly effective, or if a supervisor feels that a person is ineffective, it would be required for them to give comments on that, as well as for the individuals who may fall in the ineffective category. They are required to have a mid-year if they have been here for 1 year or more, so that we can make sure that we're continuing to provide updates on their progress, and there's a formalized process for giving and accepting feedback, and a plan as well for improvement if that's necessary. So at this point in time, there is no board approval that needs to take place. However, of course, if you have any questions, we want to be able to have the opportunity to address those at this time, and hope to have your blessing as well to move forward.
Are there questions about the evaluation process? It's very similar to the evaluating teachers, the categories. And,
Ms.
as she mentioned, if you, go
So
ahead.
prior to this, that we weren't doing anything to,
So, to be honest with you, it was inconsistent, and it was more like a checklist of about 20 characteristics. So, for example, it may be difficult for someone in transportation or nutrition to demonstrate the same characteristics of someone that may be in the classroom with students. So we want to be able to kind of level the playing field, so to speak, so that depending on the role, it gives us the ability to be a little bit more versatile, but also bring some consistency to the process at the same time. And I'll also add that school nutrition and transportation as well, they have, also additional standards. They have to verify through additional evaluation processes that are provided either by the government, federal government, or through the DOE. So anything that we complete, in the end, is not meant to override those processes that exist, but more so to exist as a complementary measure for them.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I have no more questions.
Jeff, Amanda, anything to add?
Thank you.
Okay.
You did a great job.
All right. Will that be all?
That's
Thank
all,
you.
that is all. Thank you. Best.
Ms. Golson, are there anybody signed up to make comments? No comments. Board member comments. We're gonna start down here on Dr. Pearson's end.
Last evening, several of us were able to attend the first of the town hall meetings, and this one was for District 1. And either we have had the smoothest opening of school year possible, or people were more distressed over issues other than schools. We did not receive a single question, but they got a lot of questions on reassessment and broadband. But to let you know that there are still 4 other town meetings coming up. So continue to do a good job at the schools and let them question someone else.
Having to discuss reassessment is a tough, but then that takes this pressure off of you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I would like to take my time, or at least most of it, to speak to the enrollment over at Rwanti. Of course, we just had a meeting there.
Right.
And I don't know, I'm relatively new to all of this still. But I think that the Rwanti programs that we have over there are an asset to our system, our school system here. And I'm excited about our new administrator over there. I think he's doing an amazing job. But I think he needs some support on our end, not just to get the word out about Rwanti and some of the things that are happening there. Because I really believe that we would do our students a great service to get more of them into those programs. And so he's done a great job, I think, on a financial side, getting ducks in a row and things like that, but also on, he used the word evolving the programs, recognizing that some programs just aren't attractive to students and other programs have a higher upside for their future. So I would just encourage all of us to be mindful of that when we're talking to students and parents, that this is an option that's out there, it's available to us, and maybe try to start helping get some kids over there. Outside of that, I just want to say that I concur with what Dr. Pearson has said. We've had a really great start to the school year, I think. I've heard a lot of positive from parents and folks in the community, so I'm grateful, because I know that only happens because of the people that are in the buildings with our students. So thank you all for what you do.
Good point. Ms. Benjamin?
I thank everybody for coming out this afternoon. I was at a meeting last night also, and I didn't hear anything negative either, Dr. Pearson. But one thing I did hear, and I was happy, and I think all of us can agree, they said it was one of the best back-to-school bashes they'd ever attended. So I could agree with that. So that was the only thing, and that was excellent. So, and I'm just happy to see Amani back and welcome Jake. And Jake is from my way, see I know. So we're just so happy to have the students with us, because this is some of the the best training that you can get, you know, working around adults, seeing what adults do. So that's wonderful. So thank you. Have a great year, and we're looking forward to working together. And thank you. Keep up the good work.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I'm usually chatty, but I don't really have anything today.
We're expecting a storm tonight.
I know. I do want to say that I hope that the town hall that I'll be in, since I'm District 5, I'm going to be the last one that they have, so I'm going to learn from all the other ones, and hopefully that's not when we get a storm of questions about the school. But I will be prepared when people ask questions about the school, so that's a good thing. Amani and Jake, definitely welcome. Amani, good to see you. Really excited to work with the both of you all, and hearing all of your accolades and the classes that you're in, and all of that stuff. It's exciting, you know, seeing the cream of the crop, so to say. You know, definitely be proud of that, and allow yourself to continue to develop and continue to grow and invest in others, right? And Amani, what you said, anything that you put your mind to, you can definitely accomplish. And you two are both here, so it shows that, you know, that's true, right?
Yeah.
So definitely keep up with that. And yeah, I think that's it. And we are off to a really great school year. And you know, like Mr. Garn says, you know, like, you know, having to make tomorrow better than today. I know that's not the verbiage, but I didn't go to DHS, so you can't blame me. But yeah, I mean, with our school year, we're off to a great start, and so just continuing to do that, you know, make this school year better than, you know, the last. You know, last year was great, great years before that, but you know, there's always ways to get better. And I think that, you know, we have such a beautiful community. We have amazing students, really great students. I was talking to Dr. Wesson, you know, I had decided to go back to school, and I was like, you know, now that I'm going to get this degree, I'm thinking about getting this degree, you know, to possibly be a teacher, you know, because just like working with the students and being in the schools, I'm like,
I said he's hired.
It's really interesting. So yeah, you guys have already been, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration, so to say, you know, to me, just because it's such a great school system to be a part of, right? So yeah, now I'm becoming chattier, so I don't know, you guys are to shut up. But yeah, I wish everyone well with the school year.
Thank you. I want to mention again the attendance issue, that it's an issue for all the school systems, for our workplace, and it's our focus on that for September, highlighting it. And the reason it's so important is because it's training for life. But the other reason it's so important is it's one of our markers for accreditation. And it's something that, you know, is lumped in with the other 5 indicators. So we can't get accredited if we don't convince our students that we need to good attendance. And of course, what we need good attendance for is so that they'll get used to doing that for life and jobs. So I'm hoping that we'll continue to focus in that direction. Welcome to our 2 student members. We're pleased that you have decided to do this. And I also share Mr. Walker's sentiments on Rwanti. We have a good program there. It's evolving again, and we're looking at some programs that we haven't offered before, but that's because the job market keeps changing. And we have some programs that are not attracting as many students. So we've got to make a shift, because, you know, we're dedicated to having the CTE program, and we're dedicated to that kind of training, but we need to get the bang for our buck. We got money involved, and so we need to fill the seats or change the program to fill the seats. So something that we have to look at continuously. Student comments. We'll start with you, Amani.
Well, first of all, hello. And also, too, as the right-hand lady, as Mr. Garn said, of the announcements, the quote is, "Be better today than you were yesterday," and that does apply to the year. I definitely agree with that, and excellence, no excuses throughout the year as well. But I just want to say I am very excited for this year. You know, it's my last year, and I definitely want to make an impact and, you know, just continue to do the best I can. I'm excited to work with Jake as well and get to know him more. And I'm just really excited. I can't wait for all of the presentations, the new policies, events that happen at these meetings. And I'm just really excited for another year.
Thank you. And Jake has asked to start his comments next time, or did you change your
Oh, he's
mind?
going to change his
Well,
mind.
good job,
No,
Jake.
peer pressure.
No peer pressure, that's right.
I don't really have much to say today, seeing as it's the first meeting I've attended, but I'm very excited for this opportunity to work with you all, and thank you for having me.
Well, we're
Great.
glad
That's
you're
nice.
here.
That's very nice.
Thank you. Dr. Weston?
Yes, so couple of football things. So this the past game, I had the opportunity to bring greetings to the class of 1969, the football team, and that was a very interesting experience to sit and talk with those gentlemen. And it made me think to hear their stories about what it was like in high school in 1969, and we've come a long way. And so our schools are really great. Of course, we can always be better, but just to hear their stories and the things that, they went through back in 1969, but yet, they were here to champion the school still and still were advocates of the school system. I also, in Richmond Times-Dispatch a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you all saw this, but Dinwiddie County came in second place for its stadium experience. It ranked all the high schools in the community, in the region, and Dinwiddie County was number 2 after Highland Springs. But, who else has horses and cannons and all of those great things? So, nobody could top all that. So it is quite an experience. If you've not ever had that experience, I highly recommend it. It really has been a smart, successful opening, and I had the opportunity at a football game to sit with one of our community members, and he said to me that, he goes, oh my gosh, there's been nothing on Facebook about transportation, because that's unusual when school starts, right? And I said to him, that's because Jeff Walters is now in charge of transportation and not me. And so, when you surround yourself with smart people, they do great things, and I'm very appreciative of the people in this room. I'm especially appreciative, and for the people that work here at Central Office, we will all say to the principals and the people on the front lines, the teachers, with our young people every day, that the reason that this has been a successful month has to do with your leadership. The work that you do with our young people each and every day is certainly, we don't tell you enough how much we appreciate you all, and just so grateful for you. From our principals, assistant principals, our teachers, our bus drivers, our paraprofessionals, our cafeteria workers, our maintenance team, and we just need to make certain that we let those folks know, because you're right there on the front lines with kids each and every day, and we just appreciate you so very, very much.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or needs or statements? We're on record time here today, ladies and gentlemen. As hearing no objections, we, at this point, will entertain adjournment. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for all you do.